Hello, everyone, and welcome to this important episode of Ignition Time. In this episode, I'm going to give you the latest status of where the economy is right now and what is the Republicans' calculation as the Biden team, the Biden administration, prepares for the infrastructure plan, the Build Back Better plan, which is intended to modernize our roads, modernize our bridges, our airports, add broadband internet, and essentially improve the infrastructure of our country so we can compete in the new economy with major competitors like China. Welcome to our channel. My name is Dr. Chhoda. Right here is some information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. This channel, the Ignition Time channel, is about the country, it's about the economy, and it's about our money. Let's show you this article on your screen from Bloomberg to start with. So the headline of the article is US businesses are holding off the debt apocalypse for now. Keep in mind that US businesses got money, got the Paycheck Protection Program, got the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So for the moment, a lot of small businesses are struggling to hang on and are just barely hanging on. I'm about to show you a chart on your screen that helps you understand how the delinquency rate is working for different businesses across the country. Let's show you this chart on your screen. Small businesses stand firm. Delinquent payments are flat nationwide, but they are higher on the coast. This is very interesting. You'll see the black portion of the chart as we move from the left to the right of the chart represents the delinquency rate for businesses, when businesses are essentially going under. As we go from 2019 all the way through to where we are right now, you'll see that the US delinquency rate for small businesses remained fairly constant. But if you take a look at the pink line that represents New York, and then if you look at the yellow line that represents the West Coast, San Francisco, you'll see there was a sharp increase in the delinquency rate along the coast, presumably because these businesses were more tied with travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality. But this is where things start to get challenging. These businesses in travel, leisure, entertainment, and hospitality are the businesses that tend to drive the economic engine. In fact, for now, a lot of these businesses have cash reserves. But what's going to happen if these businesses don't get back on their feet and don't hire back all the employees that they had prior to the pandemic? That is the concern. Here's a quote from the Bloomberg article. For now, businesses are sitting on enough cash to pay their bills. Cash balances were up as much as 41% at their peak in late August as the federal Paycheck Protection Program pumped more money into the system. These balances were still up 35% through late September. Meantime, business owners have indeed cut their expenses, often by slashing payrolls, and many lenders and landlords have indeed been lenient with rent and other bills. Here's the problem though. Despite these relatively strong numbers, and as you can see, this is a quote from the article, the future remains uncertain for a sector that employed almost half of the country's private workforce and was a growth engine of the economy before the pandemic. Now, as business owners across the country are trying to plan for the future and are hoping that their businesses reopen, the Republican Party is also weighing exactly what it should do in the future. Here's a headline of an article on your screen from Bloomberg. The Republicans face Biden's next big bill, weighing whether they should ease the rules. Now, the Democrats have offered to share spending earmarks with Republicans, basically saying, hey, let's try and work together. And to be honest, this is a good, smart, strategic decision from the Democrats, because the best ideas come when both sides work together. It should not be a my way or the highway approach, but it depends a lot. We'll have to wait and see if the Republicans actually decide to work together with the Democrats, because the two sides are just so far apart. A lot of experts believe that if the two sides can agree to some things, now earmarks basically mean that both sides agree to the allocation of money for specific expenses. So the federal government says, okay, we'll allocate $10 billion for such and such, $20 billion for such and such. If they start agreeing on the small things, hopefully they'll agree on the big things like infrastructure. Now, I do want to be clear with our viewers and subscribers that the Republicans are concerned about the rising debt in our country. On your screen, you see a chart of debt levels surging higher. Republicans cite the debt concerns in opposing the Biden plan. Now, you see the black portion represents a share of the GDP and the blue portion represents the credit crisis that we had in 2008-2009. You'll start to see that the debt of the United States of America as a share of the gross domestic product has now reached 100% and has essentially crossed 100% of our gross domestic product. And as you can see, as we move in this chart from the left to the right, this has been increasing substantially over time. Here's a comment from Jim Jordan, the congressman from Ohio, the Republican conservative congressman. He said, we should be solely focused on stopping the democratic attacks on our liberties and winning back the House of Representatives. And I don't see how that helps us, meaning how working together on earmarks helps us. And he's concerned that with the federal US debt surpassing 100% of the gross domestic product, embracing earmarks would be more harmful to the overall public good than any specific benefit to a member's district. Now, as with everything, this is all about politics, because politics is about timing, it's about opportunity, it's about tribalism, and it's about perception. Here's an interesting comment from the American Enterprise Institute scholar Norm Ornstein. He says, benefits, meaning the earmarks and any element of partisanship, will be limited if Republicans decide the best midterm strategy is uniting to oppose whatever Biden does. Think about that for a second. The Republicans might decide the best strategy simply to oppose everything that Biden's doing, sort of like what the Democrats did with former President Trump. He said that strategy allowed the Republicans to retake the House in the 2010 midterms and the Senate in the 2014 midterms. So the question is that what the Republicans are going to do going forward? Many Republicans already oppose these earmarks. One way or another, whatever happens politically, there is one thing that is certain economically. If it's going to be raining money like this, if we're going to be spending a lot of money on the infrastructure bill, if we're going to be spending all this money on the next massive $3 trillion stimulus package, the big question is, where is the money come from? Sometimes I ask myself, where is this money going to come from? Well, while I continue to wonder where the money is going to come from, here's the headline of an article from Bloomberg on your screen. Biden's planned tax hike to hit people earning more than $400,000 the hardest. Folks, it's clear that we are going to see taxes increase on the wealthiest amongst us, and the US president's proposal will primarily affect top earners, while states are also considering increasing taxes in order to be able to raise more money. But folks, here's the problem with raising taxes on the large corporations that has a direct impact on you. And by the way, this is why you come to our channel. At the Ignition Time channel, I give you the actual news, the truth about the country, about the economy, and about your money. This is not a simple situation. This is not black and white that, oh, we should raise taxes on the rich and we should not raise taxes on the poor. Unfortunately, raising taxes on the rich is going to have an impact on the middle class and, in fact, even lower income earners. I'll prove it to you. Here's a quote from Andrew Silverman, who's a tax planning analyst from Bloomberg Intelligence. Raising the corporate tax rate has in many ways a broad economic impact. It does not distinguish between large and small corporations. Taxes on corporations might reduce the amount they can contribute to mutual funds, pension fund holders, and employee stock plans, as well as how much they pay employees. So what we are hearing here is that as taxes on corporations go up, the corporations might actually not be able to give their employees raises, not be able to contribute to pension programs, not be able to contribute to mutual funds or 401k programs, and potentially, and this was not something that was mentioned, but potentially even hire fewer employees, saying, oh my God, we have a lot of taxes to pay, so let's somehow cut our expenses elsewhere and make one person do more work instead of hiring two people. These are the real economic realities that no one talks about that are likely to happen. In fact, the tax hikes that the Biden administration is considering are likely to include repealing certain aspects of what former President Trump did back in 2017 that did largely benefit wealthy individuals and corporations. And many Democrats in New York and New Jersey are also pushing for Congress to repeal the $10,000 cap on state and local tax or SALT write-offs. And let me be as clear as I can. Raising the corporate tax rate is not something that President Biden can do on his own. He cannot do it by executive order. He needs Congress, which means the president needs a bill to pass the House and the Senate, which means that the Democrats are going to have to work with the Republicans. Even though the Democrats have a slight majority in the Senate, remember you have 50 Democratic senators and 50 Republican senators, and the tie-breaking vote is cast by Vice President Kamala Harris. Even though the Democrats have a slight majority, the Democrats would still need at least 10 Republicans to be able to advance a plan to increase corporate income taxes under the regular Senate rules. But let's be clear, Republicans have already said that they are ready for a fight. Here's a quote from the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He said that the two parties will, I quote, have a robust discussion about the appropriateness of a big tax increase. Now, this has the potential to stall, maybe even bring to a complete standstill the legislative agenda of of President Biden. Now, in case you're wondering, can't Democrats do that through budget reconciliation? They can. But if they can hopefully get together with the Republicans, then that might make more sense for our country. Because again, the best ideas, I do believe, come from both sides. I do believe for us, it shouldn't be about the red or the blue. It should be about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American first. Can they use budget reconciliation? Yes. Should they use budget reconciliation and simply avoid reaching across the aisle and working? I believe the answer to that is no. Also, there's only a limited number of times they can use budget reconciliation. So there's another factor right there. But the Democrats may be incentivized to do as much as they can before they lose either the Senate or the House in 2022 or 2024, or potentially even the presidency, because time flies by pretty quickly. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I really appreciate you watching. This entire proposal from President Biden is actually going to be very significant. Finally, I want to show you this article on your screen, also from Bloomberg. Biden eyes first major tax hike since 1993 in the next economic plan, and the tax increase would help fund long-term economic recovery in our country. And the corporate capital gains tax, which were essentially lowered under the Trump administration, are likely to be raised under the new Biden administration. So that was it, everybody. I hope you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. Please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. I would greatly appreciate that. That helps out the YouTube algorithm. I can make it rain money. Check that out. My specialty is I make it rain money. Can make it continue to rain money. I also have a crystal ball. Check this out. And another one of my specialties is I can predict the future, just like I can predict that this crystal ball is about to disappear, and the fact that it continues to rain money. I can predict that it's going to continue to rain money for the next 15 seconds as I ask you one more time to please click the like button, please subscribe, please enable notifications. It's raining a lot of money here. And I can tell you that President Biden, and I hope he's doing okay in the rain, in the money rain, he clicks the like button. And I can tell you that Vice President Kamala Harris also clicks the like button. Thank you so much for watching. There's a lot of money here. I told you I could predict the future. I'm going to snap my fingers and the raining money will stop. Check that out. See? Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.